Så lad os prøve, let's try and go live, just to see what happens. Let's put on some light here. No, that's too much. Hey. So I'm just testing out this setup because I would like to maybe start doing a few more live streams again. And I'm not really sure that it's actually working. Hey, there's at least somebody in the chat. I don't feel so alone. So, yeah. So let's see if we can gather a few people here. It's always critical with this time of day. I guess a lot of you is on work. I'm not, because this is my work as it is right now. So I think it would be nice if I somehow could gather some people, here around this time of day, because this would be a very, very good timing in terms of sitting here and doing these live streams. So it's we are 13 people now, which is nice. Hello, everyone. Feel free to chime in and tell me where you are watching from. I'm very keen to understand if this is primarily if you're primarily watching from Europe, because that would make perfectly sense. I don't think the US guys have been waking up right now, and maybe that was one from US. So because I think it would be really nice if we could get this live streaming up going, because that will at least allow me to do some more interaction with some of you. I'm just wondering if we should extend this at some point to having guests on here, because sometimes it can be a little bit, me just sitting here and talking. So what I basically did right now is I took a part of the course that I've made in the past, Drone Like a Pro, and I basically put that in here. So I will be able to talk a little bit about that. And then let's see if this is something that you like. Then we could do more of those, maybe cover different parts of this course that's right now is just being offered on Udemy. So it's not really being promoted very well. So what about the audio? Is that okay? Can one of you write in the chat if the audio is okay? Oh, there's actually quite a few from the US. You're really right, I guess. Okay, so let me just start this a little bit, and then let's see if what happens in the chat during this presentation. So what I want to talk about here today is how I basically plan my flights before I go out and do like a commercial drone gig. And see if I can make this presentation go here. The first thing that, of course, you need to, maybe that's kind of a natural thing that you need to know the local drone regulations. And it seems like a pretty logical thing that you should know those, but actually there's no requirements of any certification if you're flying a sub 250 gram drone, which is kind of a problem because then you don't know all the limitations that are there. You're supposed to sit down and kind of understand what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. But I don't, at least from the questions that I see in the different forums, it's not happening very often. So you need to somehow put your mind into sort of understanding the local drone rules. And especially if you are sort of traveling cross country, like between different countries in the EU, the main rules are the same, but there can very easily be differences between the local legislation in each country. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing that you need to do, if it's a specific task that you have been given, you need to determine the flight area. And I've just used this church, Vor Frue Kirke in Copenhagen as an example. That was a task that I did sometimes during last year. And what I normally do there is I pull up a Google Maps, sort of to get an idea what area are we talking about. And the cool part about Google Maps is that you can also pull out the satellite photos. So you can basically see, you can see a lot more details from that. You could maybe also use Google Earth, I think, if you want even more details about the area. So in this way, you get a pretty fair idea where you can fly and where you can't fly. And when I did this operation, it was actually not allowed for me to fly over any of the buildings. That has changed a little bit with the new updated legislations in Denmark from 1st of January 2024. But at that point, the only option that I had to carry out this mission, unless I wanted to go and knock on every door on this area to film this church, was to keep on the roads. I was allowed to fly my drone even, and I was actually planning to take out the heavy guns for this. So I was planning to fly one of my C1 drones. So the only option that I had there was actually to keep myself on the roads. So then every country, more or less by now, I would assume, has a map that you can pull up so you can see what are the restrictions for flying in the area where you are planning to go. And for Denmark, it's called the dronezoner.dk, and it's basically run by the Danish traffic authorities, and they make sure that everything is updated here. So there's like a nice map that will allow you to go in and see. You can type in, you see I've typed in the address, St. Anna Street 29, and there are no blue areas there, which is basically areas that are no-fly zones. So there was no obstructions or no problems in carrying out a drone mission on this specific location. Then, of course, there's another factor that comes into play. And the day before you go on a drone mission, it's very good to check the local weather forecast. You can't trust these very global services. So you need to find a local weather service that will allow you to go in and sort of figure out what's the weather going to be the day after. In this case, I was pretty lucky that it was sunny. So that gives a different set of things that I would talk about in just a sort of short while. But you could end up in a situation where it's very, very windy and maybe it's rainy, and you need to take those factors into account. So make sure that you check the weather forecast so you're well prepared what you're going to face the day after. I know the weather is changing sometimes very rapidly, so it's but at least if you have like this Friday the 12th, where you have 3 suns during the day, there's a really huge chance that you will be ending up flying in very good conditions. A really good thing that I've found out and found very useful is if you can get some sort of a radar map. If you can find this radar map and they promise that it will be rain at some time, then if you pull up this radar map, you will be able to see if there's like a big cluster of rain that's moving towards the area where you are. and you can get a fairly accurate prediction on when this will hit in case that you want to finish up your drone operation. Also, some weather services offer like a wind map that will allow you to see wind directions and stuff like that. That will make you be well prepared before you're on site. And this is just a Beaufort scale, which is basically a sort of a number that will, if you look at the specifications from your drone, you'll probably see in the spec sheet that it is approved for a certain wind level, and that refers to this Beaufort wind scale. So if it's approved for level 5, that means that it will be okay to fly it in 8 to 10 meters per second, 19 to 24 miles per hour, 29 to 38 kilometers per hour, and 17 to 21 knots. Don't know how relevant that is, but that is considered a fresh breeze, small trees sway, and wide chest wavelets, I don't know what that means. But that means at least it's not calm, and it is very windy. You can't take your drone up to your worse conditions than this. I've done that a few times, but you need to be really careful about your planning so you don't lose your drone. Then there's the K index. That's something that people talk about a lot. I haven't really had any problems with it as far as I can recall, but this is the sun. It's the K index quantifies the disturbance in the horizontal component of the Earth magnetic field with an integer in the range of 0 to 9, where 1 being calm, 5 being indicating of a geomagnetic storm. And this is not something that you can see. So this is something that basically will mess around if it's getting too strong with some of the electronic components that is on board your aircraft. And if a KB index is above 5 to 7, it will take longer time to get a GPS fix. The home point may not be precise, and you might lose your GPS entirely. And I don't know if you have tried that, because if you lose your GPS entirely, that means that the drone basically is being forced into ATI mode, meaning that it will be able to keep the height where you're flying, but it will actually float around. And if you're not prepared for that, and you're flying in areas where you have stuff that you can collide with, this can create a dangerous situation. And there are applications that can be used to sort of look up how high the KP index is on a daily basis. But to be perfectly transparent, I haven't had any issues with this KP index, and I never check it, to be honest. But it's worth mentioning because this is something that's being mentioned a lot around in the forums, and but I think maybe it's being put a little bit more into the severity of this is maybe being over exaggerated a bit. So let's jump into the next thing, because you need to obtain the necessary permits to fly. In the old days, now they've changed that with the new updated regulations, but in the old days, there was actually no definition if you could fly in this area or not if you went into dronezoner.dk. And I know this is the Kronborg Castle, which is probably the one that Drone Explorer was referring to, which is a very, very nice place that I love to go and fly. And this is owned by the government. And if you're going to fly inside the areas of this castle, you need to pay a lot of money to be allowed to do that. And you're not even getting the permission unless you have like a strict purpose of what you're doing there. So this is typically television stations and stuff like that. So in the past, if you see somebody that is flying over the ground of this Kronborg Castle, then they have likely not gotten the permission, because this is not something that everybody gets. Luckily for us, the seaside, they don't control that. So by checking everything out here, then I managed a lot of times to do my footage from the seaside. But from 1st of January 2024, they basically tightened the requirements here, and it's actually being a pain in the butt, because right now they have a 1,000-meter safety zone from the sort of the edge of the castle out to the end of the area. This is it's actually quite crazy. That luckily we have drones now with zoom on, because that would put some severe limitations to how much filming that I can do there. But my point is not so much in relation to this, but you need to make sure that you have the necessary permissions to carry out your drone operation. And if we talk about the church before with the spiral tower, I actually had permission from the church to be able to fly on their premises to film sort of their film this and carry out the task that I was hired to do. So obtain the necessary permissions, the royal palaces. And one of the things that they have changed is that they have taken this is Fredensborg Castle, close to where I live. This is where the queen is actually living. So that's a no-brainer that you're not allowed to fly there. And but the other one is actually nobody lives there, but it's like a culture institution now, and that's why they have put on these limitations. I think they went a little bit overboard there. So, yeah, but I don't know if that will change in the future. Again, the church that I just talked about, I had the necessary permits. And then we're talking privacy, because that's the next thing that's also on no map. If you're flying your drone around, even if you have the right to do so, please respect people's privacy, because this is something that really brings a bad name to the drone. The whole drone flying thing is if you constantly keep invading people's privacy. There are some strict rules put in writing, what you are allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do if you fly close to your neighbors. We can basically jump to the next slide here. So these people that is basically part of the ISCA organization that hired me for doing this filming task. If they haven't given me the permission, I'm not allowed to film them in this tower, because if we zoom in on the image, they will be recognizable. So that could pose a problem if I was doing that. So especially if you can zoom in and you can recognize the individual people. I know this is very tricky, and the legislation is probably different from country to country, but as a general rule in Denmark, you're not allowed to sort of film a specific person in public, but if you're filming a crowd, that's basically okay. So maybe this situation with this group of people in the tower, that's kind of borderline. But let's say that I zoomed in on one of them and was focusing my filming on one of those and decided to publish that commercially, I could run into problems. Then the next thing is, because it was a sunny day, you need to plan your flight path. So you can do that already in advance. You can figure out where's the sun actually going to be at that time of day, because you don't want to film on the opposite side of the tower. So you're basically filming into the sun. If we did that, it would be impossible to see what was going on up there. So I was kind of trying to plan this, and also made sure that I could fly on the backside of the church. So I would have the sun coming from the back, and in this way, make sure that I got some really good footage. And you can see, this was actually quite fantastic. And this was maybe in 50 meters height and close to the tower. Something that would not be possible without breaking the rules if I didn't have permission from the church. And the combination of me planning the flight in the right way, I also made sure that the sunlight was sort of working with me. Pick your weapon. That's important. Some of you might only have one drone, but if you have more drones, you need to think very carefully about what type of drone that you're going to bring. when you're going out on a specific mission. And for the mission with the church, I ended up using the classic. I'm actually not sure why I did that. I think it was because it was actually a little bit windy on the outside. I wanted, now I know why. This is because of the long flight time. I used the classic because that's kind of a tank, and we only had the tower for a short period of time, and I want to make sure that I shouldn't mess around with landing the drone and taking off all the time. That's why I chose the Mavic 3 Classic. I don't think the Air 3 was released at that point, because then I would probably have taken that one because of the two, have it here? No, I don't have it here. Because of the two lenses that will allow me a lot more flexibility. But I picked the Mavic 3 Classic because that's basically a flying tank that will stay in the air forever. And I managed to capture all the footage for this take on a single charge on the battery. So that was super, super nice, and the reason why I chose that one. Also, you have the aperture, the variable aperture of the Mavic 3 Classic, which will help you in scenarios where you have chosen a filter that might not be the right one in the situation. Once you get airborne, you can compensate, basically adjusting the aperture. So this mechanical arrangement that is in front of the lens while the drone is airborne. Something you can't do with the mini drones. If you have chosen a filter that is too dark, you are basically a little bit screwed. I know you can turn up the ISO to make it more bright, but that will also hurt sort of the quality of the footage. All right, so yeah, and there's two other weapons. And this K-Swarm drone that I have. That's not something that you want to bring anywhere. That's by far the worst drone that I ever had in my arsenal. The Autel Evo 2, that was a nice one. I don't have that anymore, so that was not an option to bring that. But that would have been a really, really good choice as well. Apart from it's not C1 certified, so maybe not a good choice anyway. So one thing that I found very useful is actually to make a shot list. So I make sure that I have made careful considerations of what shots that I'm going to take when I'm on location. I've done a lot of these explosions or demolitions where I've captured some of these. Maybe I should do a separate video about those, because there are some really, some cool stuff going on here. But making a shot list that will help you at least to get some ideas of what is it that you want to capture on the day when you're there. I know when you're on there, you will end up capturing a lot more than what you originally planned, because it's almost impossible to plan everything in advance. So, but I found it's very useful to sit down, just make a very, very simple shot list. This one was actually available in the first Drone Academy one when we had that one going. But this was just a simple template that will allow you just to write down the different shots. And I know you're not going to stand on location and read, I'm going to fly to this location, this height, and I'm going to film this. This is basically not how it works. But it's a very good list to have at your hands when you are there. So you can basically take the shots that you can remember that you need to take, and then you can look briefly on the list saying, okay, I also need a photo for the thumbnail and stuff like that. So I found that very helpful, at least to have like a rough idea of what type of shots that I want to capture, especially if you are doing like drone tasks, or you're working with people where you have limited time to perform the operation. It's a no-brainer, of course. If you're doing a demolition, you're not getting a second take. When the stuff goes down, it goes down. So in that way, you really want to make sure that you are prepared. But with the church project, we had 1 hour to complete the task. That is really, really good. to have an idea of what type of shots that you want to capture in the process. An equipment checklist, that's another thing. I think I could make a separate video about that. There's a separate part of the course that is actually covering this part. But it's very, very important that you make sure that you have everything. You don't want to stand with either a non-formatted SD card, or maybe you have forgotten your SD card before you got on location. The software maybe not is not being updated. It's not so bad now, but in the past you had basically software updates that would prevent you from taking off. And if you have a limited time to perform an operation, you don't want to mess with those problems. You want to take those away, and so you can concentrate on the task that you are set out to do. So when the day arrives and you arrive on location, what I normally do is I do like a small site survey. So I just make sure that I am there before the client. And then I walk around and I just get some ideas, do some final adjustments to the strategy that I'm going to use on the current day. I also did like a small test flight just to make sure that I had picked the right filter and the lighting was like I planned in advance. And then, yeah, so that's definitely something that you want to do. Make sure that you do like a scouting of the location where you are, and do maybe a short test flight just to make sure that. One thing that's very difficult sometimes is to assess how close does the drone need to be to the things that you want to film, because of the wide angle of the camera. And so you can test out these things and get an idea what would look good and what would not look good, without necessarily being able to capture the footage that's going to end up in the final production. So establish a communication plan. That's also a very, very good thing, is that you have contact to, if you're working with people, then make sure that you have agreed in advance, because maybe they have some other wishes for you to film. They wanted to do like some sort of an exercise when they were in the tower. So we have agreed that one of the members of the staff, she had a cell phone, and we were basically in connection all the time. So she could tell me or sort of point me in the right direction to when they want to do the different things that they wanted to have inside the final product. So let's see. So yeah, so I was standing down there. I could easily see the drone. I could also see her, but it's not very easy to speak over these kind of distances. So having a cell phone connection or maybe a radio connection could also be an option for stuff like that. So yes, that was it. Let's just do this. Let's see. So yeah, so there's still someone around here. So what do you think about presentations like these? Are these too dry, and is this something that we should do more of? Then let me know in the comments if you're still hanging out. This is it's definitely yeah. Let's see here. Mission planning, yeah, that's a funny one. Mission planning is the basics for successful landing. That is correct. I have a crazy story that I'm planning to make a video about, how I basically ended up in a situation like this. Because that was me doing like a calculated risk when I had to do like a video for the channel, and as you could see, that didn't end up like very well. But there was some things around this crash that actually bugged me a lot, because it didn't make sense in terms of the wind direction. So I've been back looking at some of the footage and also at the screen recording, and it kind of revealed something that's interesting. So I think I will do a video about that and explain how I managed to crash my trusty Mini 2 for the third time, I think, and this time it was fail. So when you fly your drone, do you worry about losing sight of it? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. I know the rules about VLOS and all that stuff, but it is very, very easy with these smaller drones if they are up in the sky and you're zipping around and you're very concentrated on what it is that you're filming. It's very easy to lose sight of the drone. Luckily, there are a lot of good tools on board the drone that will allow you to get it back. But actually, I was more confused and worried about when I lost the Mini 2 when that went down, to find that. But I figured out a good way to use the map that's inside the Fly app to go and locate it where it was. And that was basically because it ended up in a different location than I anticipated. So, yeah. And just scroll up here from the beginning here. So see. I haven't had time to look at the chat while love the environment. I guess this was the Fredensborg, not the Fredensborg, the Kronborg castle that you were referring to there. If I just take this one. Oh, I just want to show you what I talked about before. And I'm not very good at typing at the same time that typing at the same time that I'm talking. So come on, man. So if I can just stop the screen sharing here, and I can share again. Share screen. So you can see this is the website, the Danish website that I was talking about. And if I say I agree in this, maybe there's an English version as well. I don't know if there is. But this is basically the map of Denmark. So if I type in Kronborg, yeah, I'll get the Kronborg Castle. And it takes a while for it to update. Kronborg. Where is it coming? Kronborg Slot. There it was. Now you can see this is absolutely crazy. Look at this. They blocked everything around this castle. Previously, I could take off from this little spot here next to the harbor, and I could fly out here on this side and do a lot of nice filming. I don't know if you can see the mouse pointer here. You can probably not see the mouse pointer. That's of course a problem. But I could fly on the outside of the castle, and if I just scroll out here, you can see. No, you can't see that on this map. Let's take this one away. Maybe if I enable pillar. Yeah, now you can see it. What you can see here on the left side, on the other side, not on the left side, on the right side, compared to the water, that's actually Sweden. So you see, it's very, very close. Sweden is very, very close. But look at this. Look, they have blocked everything here. And you need to have a permission from the military to fly in this area. So that's kind of, I don't know, very stupid. So let's see what else we have here in the box. So, sure. Do you have a special bag prepared? No. Yeah. I have flying drones for such a long time that I've been doing. I have like a procedure that I do every time. And every time that I get home from a mission, I make sure to empty my SD cards and put the footage into sort of folders where I can find it, because I have tried a few times ending up where I had to delete the SD card, and I actually deleted footage that I needed for some other project. So when you're doing stuff like this, you need to have some sort of structure in place, so you make sure that you save everything. And of course, I make sure the day before that I check everything, that everything is inside the bag, and make sure that all of the batteries are charged. I make sure that I have the ND filters. I make sure that I have the SD cards. I make sure the controller is charged. And I normally also, I keep looking at this one. I should look at this one. Because I do a lot of stuff for my YouTube channel as well. I also need to make sure that I have all the recording equipment with me that I need for a special task. So here is another question. Should I buy the DJI? I would guess you mean the Mini 4 Pro. The Mavic name, Maverick, it has never been called Maverick. It has been called Mavic. The Mavic name, they lost that a couple of periods back, iterations back of the drone. So it's called the DJI Mini 4 Pro. This is a fantastic drone, no doubt about that. It's probably the one that you're getting with the most bang for the buck. A little careful saying that, but you're getting a lot of functionality within this drone, and the picture quality is really, really nice, and the obstacle avoidance is also really, really nice. So if you have the money, and it's a difficult question for me to answer, because I don't know how much money you have, and I don't know what else that you're considering. So, but I would say the Mini 4 Pro as a standalone device is a really, really fantastic drone. And it will be, because it's below 250 grams, it will be the most easy one for you to fly in any location that you wish, without getting into too much problems. So that's for sure. That is for sure. So so that's using a small I guess that's an American thing. Using small UHF radios. I would assume this is a US thing. But a cell phone is perfectly fine if you have that one. That's easy. EU version of NOTAMs. I don't know if they are available. They are normally available within at least the local maps here. So yes, and I'm also happy to share it. I'm not saying that I have the truth to how I plan missions. Maybe there are other ways of doing this that makes more sense to you guys, but at least it gives you some insights into the thoughts that I'm putting behind this. So will you announce the live streams in advance? Yeah, I guess if this is turns out to be something that we're going to do more of, I have a lot of fractions of the course that I made that we can be using as discussion topics. That I think it would make good sense to announce it in advance. Okay, so you actually could see the pointer. That's otherwise it would be a pretty annoying presentation. So yeah, that's an interesting one, because that's basically probably the hardest part of getting into the drone business, is to getting clients. And I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that I have enough clients compared to what I want, because I don't. But I have jobs coming in on a regular basis, and it's most of the time it's basically me that has been out. Maybe I have been doing, people have been reaching out to me And then I have maybe done some stuff for free with the ISCA. That's a good example. I did like a mission a while back, helping them out doing where I didn't take any payment. I thought their course was nice. So I conducted some free work in exchange for me being able to use the material that I recorded. And they have come back a few times after and asked me to do additional work where I've told them that I couldn't do that for free, so they had to pay me. But there's a lot of people out there that want to make money off their drones, and it's very, very hard to sort of get the jobs. I also had a few. I had one job. I actually lost that. That was a great opportunity with the national Danish television. One of the production companies for them reached out to me and asked if I could do some footage they had to use in a documentary. And of course, I offered my help, and I sent the lady a quotation, and she actually ended up not choosing me because my prices were suspiciously low. Also, I failed to send her a proper show reel showing sort of a demonstration of my skills. I just forwarded my YouTube channel, and when I talked to her a little bit later, she said, "Okay, I asked for a demonstration of your work, but you sent me your YouTube channel. What can I use that for? I'm not going to sit and scroll through tons of videos to find out if you're capable of doing the job or not." So I missed that one. But yes, jobs are coming in, not as many as I want, but I basically right now have done a little upgrade. I've done like trying to specialize here in the local area. So what I've done is I made a Danish website that I call Tech Drone Media under my Tech Drone Media brand. But I have the DK address, so I've used that one. So I've created like a small single page website. There's not so much here going on. There's a link to the show reel that I was missing. So basically, it's just linking to YouTube. So it does. So that's basically a show reel that shows a few clips that I've been doing. I don't know if I've run into problems with copyright here. So I'm not playing the music. I have paid for the track, but I can't really see if I don't want to get into that. So this video is getting into problems. But basically what I've done is I looked through my archive of footage, and then I took the best parts of last year, and then I asked my editor to put that together with some nice music, and then that could be used as a show reel to demonstrate my capabilities with the drone. And the website, that's very simple. It's basically done in Wix. I did it in less than a day, maybe 2 days. You don't want to get too complicated with this because it will take some time anyway to get it up and running. So what I've done is I made this front page describing my services in Danish. I made a photo section that shows some selective photos that I've taken. This one, I love this one. This is so nice. Look at the colors of that one. That I really nailed that one. So, how do I get back? So, and then I have a video section basically just containing the same show reel as before. And then I have an agreement with the Danish distributor of DJI drones that I can offer the courses that they are providing, giving people the chance to get a certificate and all that stuff. I can provide that, or I can show that as part of my website and earn a little commission there. So this is it's brand new for me to do this, do it in this way. Just do this. So yeah, how can I do this in a good way? So this is so this is brand new for me to try and see if I can step up the game a little bit on the drone jobs that I have, because I've been trying to build up the YouTube channel since 1st of September 2023 and make that my primary income, but it's not easy. That part is not easy. There's something else got to bring in the money. So yeah. Let's consider this an expensive hobby. That is sure. That is for sure. If you want to keep up with the latest drones, then it's very easily getting very expensive. So yeah, and it might end up with that, because there's no way that I'm gonna make a living off my YouTube as it is right now. So yeah, Paul, that's nice. It's always nice to have people around that has been sticking with me for such a long time, and that's also why I want to do these live streams, because I kind of think it's getting a little bit boring to be here recording the videos all by myself, and it'd be nice to connect with you guys a little bit more. That's for sure. Yeah, I am, and yes, and of course you see it when I'm out filming, and most of the time I basically have a blast when I'm recording the videos. I do, but there's also a lot of downtime with editing, planning new videos, trying to figure out stuff how it needs to work. It's not all sunshine all the time, but there's no doubt that I enjoy it when I'm out in the field and doing experiments. Like the ones that I just did with the remote ID. Those were pretty fun. And I also like all the comments that you were putting below the videos that sort of encouraged me to do different kinds of tests. And that creates some sort of a interaction between us. So that's, I like that a lot. Yeah, blooper reel, that would be, yeah, I've been thinking about that, because I actually screw up many times. You can't imagine how much is being cut away from the videos before it end up as the final product that you see on the channel. Yeah, that is a really, really good idea. I can highly encourage that. Push that thumbs up button, guys and girls, and only one time. Not twice. So all right, so yeah, I don't know, I don't want to keep you on here for much longer. I think it was nice, and I think we can do this again at some point. Maybe I don't know. What are you saying? Would it be nice to have a guest on here, so it's not me talking all the time, but basically having one of you guys join me and have some discussions about drones? What do you think about that? I take the coffee here while you're thinking about that question. Let me know. I don't know if that is even possible. Let's try that, because now this is a test stream. So let me just try this. And I don't know what I'm doing right now, and I don't know if you dare to do that. But let's now I'm posting a link out there, which is basically a link into this live stream. So if you are up for it, one of you could basically join me now. I don't know if you can click the link. Okay. I know maybe that was a little bit not nasty, but it was a. Let me just see if I can. Is it going this? So turn this a little bit. to see if one of you are taking the bait and jumping on. I won't bite. I promise. Drone seeker. Yeah, that's something that I need to look into. Yeah. Yeah, that's one. That's one. Let's just add this gentleman to the stage. Hello.
Henrik.
Improvise this, and thank you for and jumping on. Can you
Can
hear
you
me?
hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, I'm from the Netherlands.
Yeah, beautiful country, very flat.
Yeah, like I told you, I've watched Sandham Murders or something like that and saw the castle on it.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah, but we have actually, I have, I guess, 5 castles within 20 kilometers from where I live. It's quite crazy actually.
Yeah, I know. I explored the environment. There's also a nature reservation.
Yeah, there is. So
Perhaps I'll
what are your
visit
plans?
Denmark next summer with the camper.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I also I didn't make the move to the Mini 4 because I already own the Mini 3 Pro,
Yes, then there's
and
really no
there are
good.
only technical advances, and most of the time I keep the drone inside, and I'm not the kind of person that makes the drone follow me, so there is not really much into it to upgrade. And I also have, just like you, the classic.
Yeah. So
So
one drone that I really like is the one in between. That's the Air 3. I really
yeah,
that is my absolute favorite drone for any kind of job. I know
well,
the classic will do a better job. It'll probably do better video, but
the reason why I chose the classic is because I'm a photographer,
yeah,
and I mainly use the drone for taking pictures. And
yeah,
the variable aperture is the thing that made the choice for me to take the classic.
yeah.
I hardly use the zoom. I reckon. Now I can't because I don't have it.
But
But
you need to do some
that
more.
was the reason why.
Yeah. You could also argue that you have a drone, so you can just fly closer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but the background isn't as appealing as when you zoom in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
So
But it's crazy when you talk about the car. You just saw the limitations that they put on here. It's basically the same if you take where I live. I have a castle very close to where I live, and with the new restrictions with 1,000 meters no-fly zone, it's just
that's
outside my
crazy.
house. Just outside my house. so, so I can still fly from my garden, but I can't fly outside my house, outside my property. Then I will get in trouble with the military.
Why are they so protective about the castle?
This one up here where I live is because of the Queen, and
Oh, she lives in it.
yeah, she lives in it. So that's why. But that's basically
Okay,
not the reason. It's because they have changed the rules. So military installations, they can ask to get a 1,000-meter buffer zone, and there's military up there. So that's the reason why it's so broad. They were supposed to only claim 300 meters, but they can ask to get it expanded to 1,000. So it basically everybody has said, and we want 1,000. So if you look at Copenhagen right now, it's blue all over the place in
yeah,
there.
I've seen it. I've seen
It's
the
like a
torso
nightmare to
building.
fly in there. Yeah, it's
So, is it
yeah,
still limited for the minis?
yeah. These zones are you're not supposed to go there regardless what drone you're flying.
because the Mini is considered a toy.
Ah, ah. You know what the definition is if it's a toy?
Yeah, it's under 250 grams.
No, no. The, you, if you look at the ESA website and you dive into this, what is it, 947, 219, 947, you would see that the drone needs to be compliant with a EU directive for toys that are designed for persons below 14 years.
Okay.
That's the only time it can be considered a toy. So a sub 250-gram drone is not automatically classified as a toy drone. I thought the same as you, but I had some clever people educate me on it.
Yeah, well, now you're educating me, eh?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem at all. Well, I enjoyed talking to you, and
Yeah.
perhaps it's a good thing to start up. I think when you announce it in advance, there will be more viewers.
Yeah, and I basically wanted to do it right now because I wanted to test if there was an audience for this. If nobody showed up, then it's and I don't want to do this in the evening. The evening I want to spend with my family and sort of hang out with them, and it would be
Yes,
much
of course.
more much better if I could do it inside my working hours, basically. But if there's no audience, then it wouldn't make much sense.
I'd like to thank you for the invitation and keep up the good
Thank you
work.
for participating.
And perhaps I'll see you when I visit Denmark.
Yeah, you're free. You're free to hit me up. Then we can see if we can make it work.
Okay. Well, have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye. So I think that was nice to get that part tested as well. And wow, we're almost close to 1 hour of live streaming. That's crazy. So I will finish up for now. And if you have any ideas for around this format, then you cannot write it in the chat, but write it below the live stream. And then let's see if we can integrate some of it into a future live stream. All right. Thank you for watching, and make sure to hit the like button on the way out. If you don't like it, then make sure to press the dislike button twice. And thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next